Okay, well, it's very important that we have an open dialogue about the future of migrants in Europe. And so today we want to provide a space for cities, regions, and rural areas, and I come from a rural area, it's very important, in southwest England, to exchange ideas constructively about the integration of migrants into communities throughout Europe. Cities and regions are key to welcoming and integrating migrants, and it's important that they should be able to access resources from the EU. So our conference will be both practical and it'll give information on resources. It'll tell you about funding, as well as giving you information and giving you knowledge on how to do the best you can for the migrants that we will welcome into our region. We will be exchanging ideas and best practice that a lot of you are already implementing. Many of you have got experience of them in your own area, and we would love to learn from you some ideas that can be passed across Europe. So as you see, we're in for a very busy day. I have a slight amount of experience because I come from a small village called Uplyme, which has 1,000 inhabitants. We are about to welcome a Syrian family of 4 into our region. We have to pay £9,000, 10,000 euros, which we are at the moment raising. We also have to find accommodation for the Syrian family, and we have to work out their dentists, their doctors, their schooling, their shops, their cooking, how they get around, their language problems. So this is very much like home, and I'm sure that I will learn a lot from you today for our village as well. Right, so now, after all this ramble, it's time we got cracking on the conference. And we start in the capable hands of both the European Commission and then the Committee of the Regions. So we're going to welcome, firstly, a brand new Commissioner for Home Affairs, Mrs. Ylva Johansson, and after that, Karl-Heinz Lambertz, President of the European Committee of the Regions. Both of them have to go, sadly, after the conference because they're working very hard after they have spoken. So firstly, it gives me great pleasure now to welcome Commissioner Ylva Johansson, Head of the Home Affairs Division of the European Commission, to open our conference. Mrs. Johansson has just taken on this new office since 2 days, and she's been a member of the Swedish Riksdag since 2006. Her previous posts in the Swedish government have included Minister for Employment and Integration, Minister for Schools, Minister for Welfare and Elderly Health Care. So you can see that Mrs. Johansson is in a perfect position to know about all the aspects of integration of migrants. We look forward very much to hearing you, Ylva Johansson.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning. It's a pleasure to be here with you on my second day in office and to be part of this opening of this conference. I want to start to say something about my portfolio, and then I will say something about my experience from working quite intense with integration from the country I come from. I'm now responsible for security and migration. That's quite a huge portfolio. And in my aspect, there are some connections between the two areas of my portfolio, but there are also some important differences. When it comes to security, I think that it's about cohesion in society. Security is about protecting our citizens from being victims of crimes. And I think it's important for cohesion that ordinary citizens feel that they are protected by society. Those that are very rich, they can buy their own security. They can move to safer areas, they can buy surveillance or whatever. But ordinary citizens have to rely on society, on police force, on intelligence. I think it's important that we can show that we can protect people from being victims of crime. And crimes are not only punishing the victims that are the victim of a specific crime, it's also like a poison in society. So when you have the feeling that this society is not secure enough, I am not protected, it's like a poison that destroys cohesion in society. So for me, security is about cohesion and how we can build a strong society where people feel they are part of it. It's a society of cohesion, and when they are equally treated and equally protected. Migration has been a lot of tensions during the last years in the European Union. But I think that it's time now to have a little bit cooler way of talking about migration. We should not have that very, very high voices or very, very political, sharp argument. I think it's time to be more pragmatic and practical about migration. Every year, between 2 million and 2.5 million people from third countries come to live in the European Union. Some for a shorter while, but most of them will stay very long, probably longer than expected from the first. And these are the big thing in migration. But we tend to speak very much about 100,000 people that arrive irregularly through the Mediterranean and through the eastern borders. But most of the people that come here as migrants are these 2 and 2.5 million people, and I think it's important to have this in mind. I have got Ursula von der Leyen has given me the task to find a fresh start and a new pact on migration and asylum. And that's, of course, going to be quite a difficult task to unblock the blocked situation, especially between member states. And I started yesterday to meet with all the ministers in the council, and I'm going to travel to meet bilaterally with all the member states to find out where a new compromise can be found. But it was a quite positive impression I had yesterday from the member states. I think there is a momentum, and I think everybody realized that we have to come forward with a common approach and a common compromise, because we are paying quite a high price every week that we do not come forward with a common policy on migration and asylum, both when it comes to the trust and cohesion between member states, but of course for the migrants themselves that are being stuck in very difficult and dangerous circumstances as long as we do not have this compromise in place. So this is going to be one of my priorities. I think, of course, I don't know the outcome of the dialogues yet, but I do think that we need to protect our borders, our external borders, better than we have done. And I do think that we have to be much more efficient on returns. We have to make a distinction between those that are eligible for international protection or for other reasons have the right to stay in the European Union and those that have not. And I think this is what the citizens ask us from the European level to deliver, the distinction between those that should be welcome and those that actually have to leave. Another important part is to find better and more legal pathways to Europe. So people do not need to come through irregular ways, risking their lives. There should be more legal pathways to come and help to contribute to the European economy, and also to come as a refugee through resettlement. I think these are better ways to also welcoming people in the European Union. And we have also to fight the migrant smugglers that are actually risking people's lives every day, and they're earning a lot of money on doing so. Third, I think it's very important that those that are eligible to stay in Europe, we have to be very clear. You are welcome. I'm happy to have you here. I want you to succeed in your new home country. I want you to be part of the labor market. I want your children to succeed in school. I want you to be part of our local community. And this is about integration and also about fighting racism and discrimination. And this is what this conference is about. So I wish you all success with your very important task on integration on this conference. Integration, in my perspective, is always local. Sometimes I've been asked, how long time will it take to become a Swedish citizen? The answer is 7 years, then you can become a Swedish citizen. But how long time will it take before you're part of a local community? 3 generations, maybe? Something like that. So it's very, we are all very, very local or regional, and that's a very big part of the identity for all the inhabitants, to be part of their region or their local community. And that's where the newcomers has to be welcomed into their new country, of course, but most of all into their new local community. And that's why integration is always local. It's all about community, it's about culture, it's about narrative, it's about networking. And of course, you can't copy from one region to another, from one member state to another, because it's local, so it differs. But you can learn from each other. And I think it's very, very important with the cooperation that you are ongoing and that we have to strengthen between different regions in the European Union to work together, to learn from each other, both from the best practice, but also from some failures or mistakes that we also make. So I think this is very important. Of course, there's a lot of challenges when it comes to practical things like housing, schools, childcare, healthcare, language courses. All of that has to be in place. But I want to point out also some experience I have. I think for adults, entering the labor market is really crucial to be part of your new country and being integrated. It's about dignity, earning your own money, but it's also about having your profession recognized. And I've been thinking about that. My profession is that I'm a teacher in math. This is what I really can do. I know that I can teach you all quite difficult levels of math, because that's my profession. If I were a newcomer in a new country where I didn't know anything, I would like to start with something I know, something, a place or a platform where I feel confident. But I don't want to feel stupid. There's a lot of new things I have to learn, the language, the curricula, the culture, everything. But it should be nice to start with something where I feel confident I have some profession. And that's why I think it's important to recognize the professional background for people coming to the new country. And of course there are differences and all that, but I think this could be a starting point. And also to use social partners or in other means finding mentors from the same kind of profession to help integrate into the working life. I will share with you an experience I had. I visited a very small local community in the north of Sweden. There were a lot of migrants coming from Syria mainly. And they needed the workforce in the local manufacturing industry, but there was a problem with the language, of course. So they set up a specific language course special for this local industry. And they could start working only after a few months in Sweden. And when I went there, I talked to them, and they spoke very well Swedish. I was so surprised, because, they were standing there, they worked quite alone with the machines and robots and things like that. And how have you practiced all the language? When did you really learn the Swedish language? Well, you know, we have very good office parties for all the employees at this workplace. And then we have a beer or a glass of wine, and then we start talking. So this is also about we are human beings, and we integrate to each other at the workplace, but also for social reasons. Language is, of course, important. And I just want to say that I think it's important to gather people of course, for learning the new language, but also to communicate without language. That could sometimes be also have this feeling you're not stupid, you can communicate, and then you can learn the language. How do you communicate without a proper language? It's by using music, singing, playing music. It's by sports. It's playing chess. It's by gathering around your small children. A lot of these things that you can communicate to each other without having so many words. And that's also a way of developing the language. That was just a small example. I know you have many more to share with each other, and I hope you will be successful on this during this conference. And I think that successful integration must be a very important part of a new pact on migration and asylum. And we need this whole of society approach to integration, where all stakeholders are involved, and at the local and the regional level, that's where you have the stakeholders that are relevant for a successful integration. European funding plays an essential role to support the work of integration at a local level, as you all are aware of. Between 2015 and 2018, under the Asylum, Migration and Integration Fund, about 5 million people have benefited from integration support. And that's why the Commission have proposed that for the next multi-annual financial framework that we should provide significantly more financial resources for integration than we have had during the current period. Firstly, the Commission has proposed to triple the amount of money for the Asylum and Migration Fund. Secondly, integration will become a priority also for the future European Social Fund Plus and for the European Regional Development Fund to complement intervention by the Asylum and Migration Fund. Therefore, overall, a much larger amount of money from the EU budget will be available to finance integration measures. And I think this is necessary because, as you all know, sometimes it could also be difficult, especially for small local communities, to get access to the EU funds. That's why the Commission has proposed several new elements to make funding for integration more accessible for local authorities. And today, I'm happy to announce the award of 13 million euros of emergency funding to Italy and Spain to improve social cohesion in local communities that have recently received a significant number of people. In Italy, about 10 million euros of funding will support the project Local Government Network for Rapid Response and Fast-Track Inclusion Services in Disadvantaged Urban Areas. This funding will support migrant communities facing precarious situations in 18 Italian municipalities by supporting local civics engagement projects, housing inclusion measures, and emergency services, such as access to medical and psychosocial care and basic assistance services. In Spain, over 3 million of funding will support Amigo in response to the immigration situation in the south of Spain, Amigo 2019. These funds will go towards reinforcing the capacities of the Civil Guard of the Spanish Ministry of Interior to organize external border and coastal surveillance and providing basic assistance to migrants. Ladies and gentlemen, friends and active people on the local and regional level, You are one of the most important stakeholders for a functioning and successful integration. I wish you all good luck for your conference and thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you very much indeed, Commissioner Johansson, for such a rousing beginning and such a welcoming feel for everybody. I was very interested to hear that one could communicate without language through music, sport, and chess. That is a very good beginning indeed. Thank you so much. And I wish you well in your new job, which is a very nice change from teaching maths. Now we have the pleasure of hearing from the President of the Committee of the Regions, Karl-Heinz Lambertz. He'll be speaking French, il va parler en français, alors vous avez les interprètes derrière, you have your interpreters behind. Mr. Lambertz has a background in law. He became president in 2017, and he's been a member of the Committee of the Regions, the COR, since 2001, after serving a 2.5-year term as first vice president. We are looking forward very much to hearing Commissioner Lambert. On se réjouit à vous entendre, Monsieur Lambertz.
Madame la Commissaire, Mesdames, Messieurs, je suis très heureux de vous accueillir à mon tour ici à cette conférence qui s'inscrit dans le cadre des efforts entrepris conjointement par la Commission européenne et le Comité européen des régions pour aller à la rencontre des villes et des régions et les soutenir dans leurs actions d'intégration des migrants et des réfugiés. Il s'agit d'une priorité absolue pour nous tous et la présence de la nouvelle commissaire, Madame Ylva Johansson, illustre très bien à quel point la nouvelle Commission européenne peut prendre cette thématique à cœur. Et j'espère que nous aurons l'occasion, ensemble avec la Commission, dans les mois et années à venir, de maintenir les engagements qui ont été pris dans le passé, notamment par le prédécesseur de Madame Johansson, et que je voudrais aussi d'ailleurs, à cette occasion, très chaleureusement remercier pour son soutien. Au-delà de la reconnaissance du rôle important que jouent les maires et les élus régionaux pour faciliter le processus d'intégration dans les zones rurales, la conférence d'aujourd'hui doit nous aider à construire un discours positif sur la migration. L'Europe s'est bâtie sur l'ouverture de ses frontières et sur la solidarité, et elle doit continuer à le faire. Nous sommes conscients qu'il s'agit là d'une lourde responsabilité, mais nous sommes aussi convaincus qu'ensemble, nous serons en mesure de le faire. Nous avons plaidé en faveur du financement de l'intégration et d'un soutien direct aux villes et régions, et nous suivons les négociations qui sont en cours sur le futur cadre financier pluriannuel afin d'assurer un lien entre la cohésion économique et territoriale et l'inclusion sociale. Et Madame la Commissaire vient d'ailleurs de faire quelques allusions à ce débat qui ont été très optimistes, et j'espère que le Conseil européen la suivra quand il s'agira de décider des montants concrets. Il y a un an, nous avions co-organisé une conférence consacrée au partenariat urbain sur l'intégration des migrants et des réfugiés. Ce partenariat, initié par la ville d'Amsterdam et la Direction générale Home, dans le cadre du pacte urbain signé en 2016, ce partenariat a créé une dynamique, une coopération et des échanges constructifs concernant les politiques liées à l'intégration, et le Comité européen est fier du travail réalisé ensemble. Pour compléter les actions du partenariat urbain, notre comité a lancé en avril dernier l'initiative Villes et régions pour l'intégration, qui donne aux petites villes et aux zones rurales la possibilité d'échanger également des informations et des solutions trouvées sur un certain nombre de problèmes. Cela nous a permis de créer un espace pour communiquer de manière constructive sur l'intégration et pour bâtir un discours positif afin de déconstruire les stéréotypes populistes qui fleurissent au sujet de la migration. Les petites municipalités, les villes de taille moyenne et les zones rurales sont sous-représentées dans les réseaux existants et n'ont souvent pas la possibilité de découvrir les bonnes pratiques et expériences existantes. C'est pourquoi nous encourageons la Commission européenne à nous aider à les soutenir, car l'intégration est un défi commun qui concerne aussi les citoyens au-delà des périphéries urbaines. Le renforcement de la coopération et de la connexion entre les régions métropolitaines, les petites villes et les municipalités situées en zone rurale peut contribuer à définir une approche plus globale pour les politiques d'intégration et accroître ainsi leur efficacité. À ce jour, 124 villes et régions issues de 23 États membres ont adhéré à notre initiative. Pour le peu de temps qu'elle court, c'est déjà un succès assez remarquable, mais ce n'est pas encore un point final. Environ la moitié d'entre elles sont des petites villes ne comptant pas plus de 50 000 habitants. Il est temps de voir les choses sous un autre angle. Le défaut d'intégration aurait en effet un coût. Nous perdrions des possibilités d'investissement précieux dans le capital humain et nous aurions bien du mal à bâtir une société européenne plus solidaire et plus équitable. Nous ne sommes toutefois pas seuls à bord. La Commission européenne participe à notre projet depuis le début, je viens déjà de le signaler, et nous espérons pouvoir continuer à bénéficier de son soutien dans les années à venir. J'invite la Commission européenne à œuvrer pour que ce nouveau mandat soit celui au cours duquel nos efforts conjoints déboucheront sur des résultats concrets pour nos concitoyens, qu'ils soient nés ici ou ailleurs. Nous prévoyons d'organiser une série d'événements conjoints au cours de l'année prochaine sur des thèmes tels que la lutte contre la désinformation et les stratégies d'intégration dans les villes et régions. Parmi nos principaux partenaires figurent également les associations territoriales européennes telles que l'Assemblée des régions d'Europe, Eurocities, le Conseil des communes et régions d'Europe ou encore la Conférence des régions périphériques et maritimes qui ont toutes répondu positivement à notre appel il y a un an et avec qui nous partageons les mêmes objectifs et la même intention de déployer la plateforme dans l'ensemble de l'Union européenne. Sans elle, cette initiative ne pourrait pas libérer tout son potentiel. Mesdames, Messieurs, nous savons que les migrants ont besoin de notre solidarité, mais nous savons aussi que l'Europe a besoin d'eux. C'est pourquoi nous avons besoin d'une communauté de responsables politiques conscients du fait que le développement territorial doit reposer sur l'inclusion et qui soit prêt à le défendre. Je pense que cette conférence peut nous apprendre beaucoup de choses dans ce domaine et contribuer à la réalisation de cet objectif. Les sessions thématiques qui se dérouleront en parallèle tout au long de la journée vous permettront de vous pencher sur différentes thématiques, du logement à l'analyse des données en passant par le sport, les soins de santé, le rôle des jeunes et les stratégies locales d'intégration. Nous mettrons également l'accent sur la communication et la lutte contre la désinformation, ainsi que sur la manière dont les instruments financiers innovants peuvent promouvoir l'intégration. Étant donné que celle-ci requiert un soutien financier, nous avons également organisé des séances de questions-réponses avec des experts des différents fonds qui financent diverses initiatives. Enfin et surtout, j'aimerais encourager toutes les collectivités locales et régionales présentes aujourd'hui à adhérer à notre initiative Villes et régions pour l'intégration et à partager ce message avec leur réseau. Vous pouvez nous rejoindre simplement en remplissant un questionnaire mis à votre disposition. J'aimerais aussi vous inviter, lors des pauses entre les différentes sessions, à regarder les photographies exposées dans cette salle. Elles ont été prises aux 4 coins de l'Europe par des personnes qui s'intéressent à l'intégration et qui ont choisi d'exprimer ce que ce concept signifie pour elles. À côté de la musique, la photographie est aussi un langage universel que tout le monde peut comprendre. Vous aurez aussi l'occasion de vous dire laquelle de ces photographies correspond le plus à votre propre vision de l'intégration. Mesdames, Messieurs, je vous souhaite une journée fructueuse et je vous remercie de votre attention.